Hello everyone, and today begins my most biggest travel and longest travel that I've ever had in my life. So we're going to Antarctica, and to go there you have to travel from Nice to Paris, from Paris to Buenos Aires, and from Buenos Aires to Ushuaia. So that's going to be a long trip, you know. And right now we're at the Nice airport and we're waiting for a flight to begin. So we're going to Paris and Buenos Aires, and this is going to be my longest flight ever, and it's going to take 13 hours, and we're going to go throughout the Atlantic Ocean from here, France, like this, to Argentina. Ta-da! After 2 days, we've arrived to Ushuaia. Hello everyone, and today I'm at the end of the world. Well, that's how tourists call it. I'm in Ushuaia. And it is a gateway to Tierra del Fuego, which is the kind of land of fire. In 10 minutes we're departing to go to Antarctica, and for 2 days we're going to go throughout the Drake's waterway. Yeah, that's how we call it, I Every time when we have to get from the boat to the island, we use the Zodiac boats. They enter from 8 to 10 people. If you have luck, it is possible to be less. Those are inflatable boats that nearly never deflate, and the possibility of sinking in it is close to zero. And today I've also met a sea lion. Brown Clough Island, and we've met 2 types of penguins, the Papu ones and the Delhi ones. The Delhi ones are white and black, and the Papu ones are white, black, and a bit of yellow, like this.
How many penguins you mean? Yeah. It's very hard to know now because it's the end of the season, and at this period a lot of them are already back at sea, but it was about 1,000 of them, 1,000 pair.
Okay, how many penguins are born this year?
It's very hard again to know the population. I could not say that. I could not tell you. I'm sorry. Yeah, as a number, I'm very bad with that. And it's changed every year anyway, so it's very hard.
taking an interview with George Villamarin, who's an expedition leader in Antarctica and other parts of the world. Let's ask some questions. So, thank you that you've agreed to give me an interview about Antarctica.
Pleasure.
And as I promised, I'm not going to ask any hard questions. So, let's talk about Antarctica. When were the first tourists allowed in Antarctica?
Okay, so tourism in Antarctica goes back to the 1960s. There was a person by the name Lindblad, and they started operations in the late 1950s, early 1960s, and they were the first tour operators in Antarctica. So we've been in Antarctica as tourists, as a tourism industry for about 70 years now.
Mm. And how many people travel here each year, like more or less?
Well, that's an interesting question. We have actually, for each season, the season goes from October to March every year. And let's say that we have, on average, for each season, 10,000 people coming to Antarctica.
That's interesting.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because there are many ships, even though you don't see them around.
Mm-hmm. So now speaking about numbers, how many time zones are there in Antarctica?
How many?
Time zones.
Time zones. Well, when we are in Antarctica on these kind of ships, we keep just one time zone, which is the Ushuaia or Argentinian time zone. And that is just because it's easier to manage one time on board. But if you go to the other side of Antarctica, which is probably the Ross Sea, you will be keeping probably New Zealand time. So for the peninsula, we keep Argentinian time. For the other part of Antarctica, we keep Australian or New Zealand time.
Okay, thank you. And what's the best month to travel here?
Well, if the sea allows, if the sea is not frozen, I would say any time of the year is interesting. But because of the ice, it is not accessible before October or after March. So we have a small window between October and March that ships can actually sail through. And any time of those would be actually really interesting, and you will see plenty of wildlife, ice, and many other things.
Okay, and what's the temperature in winter and in summer here?
Well, Antarctica is a very, very large continent. So during the winter, in the middle of Antarctica, you can have minus 90 degrees Celsius. That is really cold. Around the peninsula, it is a bit warmer. So during the winter, we can have probably minus 20, minus 40 degrees. During the summer, the situation changes, and around the peninsula, we can have between 0 and say 2 degrees on average.
Okay, thank you. And do you know how many scientific stations are there here?
That is a tricky question. I don't have the updated number, but there are more than 100 scientific stations. Having said that, not all of them are occupied during the summer, just a few of them, because people only come here during the summer. So yeah, more than 100 stations.
Okay, thank you. And now let's talk about the animals.
Yes.
What animal can you find on a journey like this?
Oh, you can have plenty of animals. So mainly penguins. Penguins. You may have many species of penguins, mainly what we call the brush-tailed penguins. Those are the Adélie penguins, the chinstrap penguins, and the gentoo penguins. If you're really lucky, you may see an emperor penguin really south on the ice. On the subantarctic regions, we may have other penguins such as the king penguin or the macaroni or the royal penguin. But for this particular trip, you will find gentoos, Adélies, and chinstraps. Also, we have plenty of seals and whales. Humpback whales, many of them, and seals. You can have crab-eater seals, you can have Weddell seals, you can have leopard seals, and of course, we're always expecting to see orcas around.
Okay,
Sometimes you're lucky.
And can you tell us a bit about the main sanitary things we have to do in Antarctica when we debark?
The main sanitary, like because of COVID?
No, because of ecology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's for biosecurity. We tried not to introduce any alien species. So what we do from the sanitary point of view of biosecurity, first we clean our gear. Everything that we wear in Antarctica has to be properly cleaned to avoid the introduction of seeds or any alien species. And every time we go ashore, we disinfect our boots, our walking sticks in a special solution called Virgon, so it kills anything that may be attached to our boots or our gear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Is that it?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye.
And on this island, we have a lot of real artifacts. On this island, we also saw a red house, and this is a security house. So basically, if something happens, like strong wind or something, and people cannot go back home, we can enter and stay there. And it is we cannot enter here only if danger is happening, so you cannot go and visit it. And in it you have a small kitchen, some bedrooms, and the toilet outside. And for penguins, we cannot see what age they have just by looking at them. We can only know if it's a baby or already an adolescent, because a baby, they're really fluffy, and other penguin adults, they're not fluffy at all, so we can know if it's a baby or an adult. And we also cannot know if it's a male or female, so we only have to analyze them and take some blood from them to know what age they are really, and if they're male or female. During all of our trip, we were accompanied by naturalists that always told interesting facts and new information. The penguins make from 1 to 3 eggs, depends on the type of penguin. After, the man and woman penguin sit one by one on the egg, while the other tries finding food. Still, There is a type of penguin called the emperor penguin, where only men sit on the egg while the woman goes for about 2 months, eats at the ocean. After the baby penguin is out of its egg, the woman gets back to sit on the penguin, and the man goes to get fed in the sea. After the baby penguins are born, the parents still sit on them. Firstly, because the kids cannot get hot themselves, so they help them be in high temperature not to die. Secondly, because some birds, predators of the penguin, eat baby penguins. And for the penguin not to die and become an adult, the parents protect them. Merci beaucoup Christophe pour être ici. Et j'ai 5 questions.
Oui.
Ça va pas être dur, donc merci beaucoup. Alors la première question c'est... Ah, pourquoi je parle français?
Ah oui, c'est en anglais, ok. Alors, first question. Sorry.
Thank you Christophe for coming and thanks for giving me an interview. I have 5 questions, they're not going to be hard, so yeah. So I have one question. Why are the 2 flags on our boat, the front one and the back one, different?
So the aft one is a national flag, so the ship is French, so it's a French flag. And the forward flag, it's this mast is the honor mast, where you put the flag of the person on board you want to honor. So this flag is from Brittany, and because the owner, Mr. François Pinault, is from Brittany.
Okay. On what country territory are we right now? Because as we are on neutral water,
Yes.
what country are we in on the boat?
What?
Country.
Yes, we are on. No, this place, Antarctica, is there's no. It's a place where there's no. It's how can you say? It's.
Speak French.
Yes, for all people in the world. There's no.
So even on the boat we're neutral?
No. On the boat it's French,
Oh, okay.
but here in Antarctica there's no authority, no country regulation. Yeah, but we are on a French boat, so it's a French regulation.
Is the Drake Passage the hardest passage to travel?
Yes, for sure. In the world, the hardest passage.
How many hours do you work and how many hours do you sleep? Or is it
Good
different?
question. Yes. Well, I try to sleep 6-7 hours per day, and I work, let's say, 12-14 hours a day.
Okay. And what function do each of you have? So do you have different functions or you both work all together?
Well, as captain, my duty on board is to manage the ship, of course, for navigation, but also manage the crew, the organization of the cruise, of the, mostly everything.
And how many people?
How many people are
On board 141 crew members, plus because this is cruise expedition cruise, we have 14 naturalists.
Okay, thank you. Iceberg comes from the German language and means ice mountain. It's an enormous free-swimming ice in the sea or ocean. About 90% of the iceberg is underwater and only 10% are above water. Normally, icebergs break away from glaciers. Perennial snowfalls cause icebergs growth. The biggest iceberg for now, found in 2010, was 19 by 8 kilometers. This size is more than Hong Kong area. It was found via satellite imagery of NASA. The color of the iceberg depends on its age. More white icebergs are the young one. The more the iceberg is old, the more it changes its color, from white to blue. It happens because the air bubbles are replaced by water droplets as it flows. The duration of the existence of an iceberg in Antarctica is on average about 2 years. So this is a house where before British people could live while studying here, and here you could have to cook, and there you could sleep and eat, and you had everything possible to do in here. Some technical things. And the bedroom with some artifacts. And here you could leave your name and when you visited this place, and I've also left mine.